What is up? Thank you for coming to my channel, Prison POV. Shout out to the joiners, shout out to the point of view crew, and trip on this. Did 1090 Jake actually borrow one of my stories and repeat it on a podcast? I'm kind of thinking he did. I'm leaning towards it. He did, as a matter of fact. Now, I don't want to come on here and start smutting people up and accusing them of things they have not done. So I guess it's quite possible that we just have matching identical stories, because our stories are very, very similar. I should include, though, these stories boil down to someone getting sliced in a cell. And I'm sure that thousands, if not millions of people have been sliced in cells. And so probably thousands of people have this same exact story. However, when I heard Jake's, I heard my story. And so I'm wondering, did he borrow? Now, I don't mind if he did. I don't care. That's why I'm saying borrow and not steal. Hey, you could borrow any old story you like. But then again, we need to keep in mind that, hey, maybe it's just a good old coinky-dink. I'll throw it all the way out there and let you be the judge. But first, who is 1090 Jake? For those of you who are unfamiliar, he's a YouTuber. He has a channel called End of Sentence. He started his prison channel about 4 years ago, and he talked about prison for about a year. He only did a year or two in prison, so his prison stories quickly dried up, and then he started talking about rappers and other things. Now, he has 1 million subscribers. Each video gets several 100,000 views, so he certainly doesn't need me for content. That's why I'm so confused. Because from my point of view, man, I feel like he borrowed my story, but hey, maybe not. Now, 1090 Jake got his big break on Lockdown 23-1. Shout out to Josh from Lockdown 23-1. That's also how I got my big break, and that's how I even heard of 1090 Jake. At the time Jake started End of Sentence, I had a channel already called Methadone Detox, where I was talking about tapering and getting off of methadone. And the first prison video from the prison genre I ever saw was 1090 Jake's interview on Lockdown 23-1. And I was intrigued by it. I could go so far as to say that 1090 Jake inspired me to make, not my channel, already had one, but to start doing prison content. So wow, it comes full circle. He inspired me to make my channel, then he borrows my stories. But hey, he may not have even borrowed it, bro. I'm just throwing it out there, homie. In my opinion, he did. But hey, it's very, very likely he did not. But these stories are very, very similar, bro. Let's just get into it. Now, like I said, I liked and I used to watch 1090 Jake when he first came out with his channel End of Sentence, and he did prison stories. They're interesting stories. They're about the JIT camp. California, we don't have JIT camps. They sounded very ruthless, and I would listen to his prison stories. When he quit talking about prison stuff and he got into the rap game and all that, that's when I quit becoming an active listener or watcher of his channel. I only like the prison stuff. And now, so I'd say I've seen all of his prison content, and I never seen him tell this story. Never seen him tell this story. Not until just recently, when I noticed a YouTuber named Point and Shoot was doing a video about 1090 Jake, and he was clowning him. He was making fun of him. He was calling him a liar. In fact, he was showcasing this exact same story that Jake may or may not have borrowed from me. And Point and Shoot was talking about this story and saying it could not have happened. Saying 1090 Jake lied about this story. And so if you're going to say he lied about his story, then I guess it makes sense to say I lied about mine, since they are darn near identical. But wait a minute though, no. You can't really say that, because our stories vary in 2 points. They're different only in 2 ways. And those 2 ways are the details that Point and Shoot draws out in his video to claim that 1090 Jake is lying. His whole video and the whole story sounds great, 1090 Jake's does, until you get to these 2 points in the story, these 2 details that point and shoot draws out that makes Jake sound like a fat mouth liar. And I'd have to agree, especially on one of them. So let's just quit like tiptoeing through the tulips. Let's just quit beating around the bush. And let's just get right on into it. And I'm going to tell you the story right now from 1090 Jake's point of view. In this story, like I said, he told on a podcast, Ian Bick's podcast 9 months ago. Jake tells this story. And I don't believe he told this story on his channel. I think what he did, he came on a podcast, wanted to bring some fresh material. So 9 months ago, he goes on Ian Bick's podcast, tells this story. Here's what he says. He says he is in his cell, and he has a cellie. And supposedly, his cellie called somebody a name. And so, some of 1090 Jake's friends or associates or homeboys want to actually get his cellie, 1090 Jake's cellie, for calling somebody a name. And Jake supposedly raised his hand to do it. He was sign languaging with a friend across the tier, across the way, across the street, whatever the case may be. They're sign languaging, and the guy tells, 1090 Jake, your cellie called my friend a name. And then 1090 Jake's like, I'll whack him for you. I'll get him. So then, here's the first suspicious detail of the story. He actually gets a cop to bring over the razor that 1090 Jake uses. He's sign language with his friend across the way, and his friend's like, okay, let me send you this piece. And what he does, he takes a razor blade and breaks it in half. He puts it under a stamp, puts pictures in the envelope, and then gets a cop and sends them over to him by way of policeman, the CO. So the cop brought him the envelope with the razor under a stamp. And point and shoot, when he got to this detail, said, I call cap. That's not how it was done in prison, is it? Especially when you consider that 1090 Jake was in confinement. He was in what we call the hole in California. Cops don't bring you things. At least not in California. You're not going to be in the hole. An administrative segregation in the hole in California and tell some cops, some CO, excuse me, can you go grab X, Y, and Z from cell 212 and bring it to me? And the cop goes over it. They don't bring stuff, bro. Why do you think we fish? Why do you think every cell has a fishing line? The first thing you do when you get in your cell, if it's a new cell and you don't have a cell and whatnot, is make yourself a fishing line because you're going to be fishing. You're going to be shooting your paperwork down the tier. You're going to be getting their paperwork. Maybe you'll end up getting yourself a shot of coffee later. Maybe borrow a book, some writing material. You're going to be fishing all day long on the tier. Hey, from the top tier to the bottom tier, way across the tier, we get it done. We do not raise our hands and ask cops, hey, can you bring me this from this cell? Especially a weapon. Because if you try to hide a razor blade under a stamp, hand it to a cop, ask the cop to send it down the tier, what if the cop finds that razor blade? You're in trouble. It's your butt at that point. Bro, you cannot lose a weapon in prison, especially to a cop. Bro, if you're trying to pass someone a razor blade through a cop and the cop finds the razor blade, you're in trouble, duh. So, no, that's not how we do things. We don't pass. So anyway, back to Jake's story. So his friend, by way of cop, sends him this envelope with a razor blade under the stamp. 1090 Jake gets it in there. And then his cellie, who he has to slice, somehow is looking out the cell door, out the cell window, facing away from him. I didn't really pay attention to that detail. I don't know how he got him to turn his back on him or whatever he did. But now 1090 Jake Cellie has his back to him. And Jake came up. Here's another point I just thought of. 1090 Jake said that when the guy shot over the envelope with the broken razor blade under the stamp, that 1090 Jake took that broken razor blade, put a pin filler on it with some string and constructed a handle and made all this stuff. You did that right in front of your cellie? So wow, you got a razor blade in your cell and you actually created a handle and you turned it into a piece right in front of the dude you're going to use it on? He wasn't sitting there watching like, what are you doing? What are you going to do with that piece? Oh, here, now that you've just made a weapon, let me turn my back on you. So that sounds a little bit crazy. Be that as it may. So 1090 Jake gets this weapon. The guy turns his back on him. And now here's another part of the story that differs from mine and is very, very fishy. Old 1090 Jake says he comes over to him and he gets him 1, 2, 3 times on the neck. He says he walks up to him, grabs him by the back of the head, pushes his head up against the cell door, and 1, 2, 3 times across the neck. BS! I call cap. Bro, there's no way. That's impossible. That didn't happen. My story, that's not how my story goes. That's one of the big differences right there. Our big differences are how the weapon was acquired and how it was used. That's not how I used it, because that's impossible. You are never going to be able to get 3 slices off on somebody who has their back to you and they're looking out the cell window. You're going to get 1 and then they're going to turn around and go crazy. Do you know how many people, I mean, it's going to sound kind of bad when you say it out loud, but do you know how many people I've attacked from the back? I mean, that's just how you have to do it a lot of times. You have to sneak up on the victim from behind and just GTA, get that ass, homie. And brother, as soon as you get 1, that dude's going to turn around so fast, he's going to start slinging his arms around. There's no way he's going to sit there and get 1 and still just be sitting there. Then 2, and then still just be sitting there looking out the door. And then 3. There's no way, dude. It goes against common sense. It goes against human instinct. Because soon as you feel something on your neck, bro, your natural instinct is going to be turn around as fast as you can. But Jake says he got him 1, 2, 3 times. Then he said the guy turned around. He said you could see like meat and gristle and fat, and it was all crazy hanging out, which is cap. That's false too. I've seen a lot of people sliced. If you cut them with one of those little cheap razors that come out of the shavers, it's like a paper cut. Now, if you get them with a box cutter, I mean, sure, a paper cut that needs stitches. Maybe that was not a good comparison, but it kind of is. Those cheap little razors just leave a line and then it starts bleeding. They don't gap open like a cut from a box cutter would. So, but 1090 Jake says he got him 1, 2, 3 times. And then the guy finally turned around and he was like, oh, hey, what's up? And the guy's like, he starts kicking the door. And Jake didn't know what was going to happen. And then the guy just volunteered, just said, oh, hey, I'm going to say that I tried to hurt myself so you don't get in trouble. And then he left. So that's 1090 Jake's story. He sliced the dude in his cell. He got the razor from down the tier. He got him 3 times. And then the dude said, I'm going to say I wanted to hurt myself. And Jake didn't get in trouble. And he told that on the Ian Bick podcast 9 months ago. I believe he's told a similar story, way less detail, on No Jumper, a couple years ago. I'm going to be fair with the details. When he talked about it on No Jumper, is before I made my full video. One of them, though. Because trip out on this, let me tell you the story from my point of view now. Now, when I first made my YouTube channel 4 years ago, Methadone Detox, then I start telling prison stories. That was one of the first prison stories I told, about how I sliced my cellie. And I told some other stories, but then I felt like I became obsessed with my YouTube channel. I would go to bed, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and grab my phone to see how many subscribers I had. I'd get all invested. If I did a video and didn't get the views, I would just get upset. I'd just be walking around this house, spinning like a top, just tripped out, emotional, upset. Dude, I had this YouTube game, had me by the nuts, bro. It was controlling me. And so I deleted I tried to delete the channel. Prison POV, I was just going to delete it. I don't let anything have control over me like that. I could not delete the channel, but I deleted all the videos. Which is a shame, because all those methadone detox videos were good. They could have helped a lot of people get off methadone. Bro, I deleted all of them. And that was 4 years ago. So it's very probable to say that Jake saw that video. And came and repeated it later on No Jumper. And then later Ian Bick. But I told the story again, though. October 2022. And the video is called, I Hit My Cellie on the Neck. Same thing. I got a cellie. Went in there, I told I had to hit him on the way to the cell. I'm not going to give too much detail out, hoping you'll go watch the video. Billy from Orange County asked me to do it. I get in there. He sends me a kite, which I have to fish. The cops don't go get it. And there was a razor blade. Dude had his back to me. I walked up to him and got him one time. Then stepped back. Told him, I don't know what you did. And we had a little conversation, and he did not want to go PC. He said, I don't want to go PC. I don't want to be a snitch. I told him what just happened to you was a checking. You don't have to go PC. Tell the cops you got yourself. I threw the razor away, just like old 1090 Jake said he did. Same part of the story. After we're talking, whoop, throw the razor away. I jump up on my bed, though, and start reading. He kicked the door. Got the cops, said try to hurt himself. But later, the cops came to me and said, we know that that was not self-induced by the angle and positioning of it. He couldn't have done that to himself, said the doctor. So you're in big trouble, Mr. Splinter. They tried to get me to tell myself, bro, you're going to be here all day. You're going to be a waiting mother effer if you're waiting around for me to tell myself, because I don't know what you're talking about. So 1090 Jake and I have very, very similar stories. We both sliced up our celly. Except for he got the razor from the cop. I fished mine into the cell. He got him 3 times. I got him once. Very possible he borrowed that story from me and took it and ran with it on the Ian Bick show. But then again, maybe it's just a lie. Hey, okay, look, let me put it this way. I will say this, though. I'll be judgmental. I'll go so far to be judgmental in this manner, in this fashion. I'll say if 1090J didn't copy me, he straight up made it up. If he did not borrow my story and take it on there and run with it, then he made it up. Because the part where he said he got him 3 times, dude, that's the lie. That's the bell that rings the loudest. There's just no way you're ever going to convince me that you got your cellie standing up like this and he's looking out the cell and you come and get him once, twice, and 3 times? And that fool's just going to stay there? No way, dude. No. Dude, bro, when we got that dude Duncan at CMC West, same thing. He was in the TV room. Remember when I told that story? That I tried to be, he was in the aisles. I tried to be in an aisle back. Let's say he was in row 1. I tried to be in row 3 to reach out and get him. Because I knew he was going to be flailing around so much. If I was in row 2, he likely could have knocked me over. Dude, I've seen a bunch of people get got, bro, from the back. And dude, there's no way you can go 1, 2, 3. You're not even going to get 2 slices on him. Because as soon as you put your hands on him. And 1090 Jake said he grabbed him by the head and pushed his head up against the door. Even touching someone's head, they're going to start flipping around like, what in the hell? But dude, as soon as you get 1 on them, it's on and cracking. They're going to be flailing around and going, nutso! There's no way you can get 3. And that's crazy. Talk about you're in confinement and the cop is just bringing you stuff. Why would you even ask a cop to bring a weapon? You guys don't fish in Florida? Department of Corrections? I mean, in California, it's a major thing, bro. You're going to be fishing all day. You're not going to get the cop to bring you Nathan. So if you want to check out my story that I told October 2022, it's called I Hit My Cellie in the Neck. If you want to hear 1090 Jake's version, you can go see it on Ian Bick's podcast, or you can listen to the YouTube channel Point and Shoot, make fun of him. Point and Shoot's channel, video is called A Silly Story About Jake and a Slicing. Something to that effect. I think he borrowed it from me. And if he didn't, I think he's a fat mouth liar. I'm going to cut the string and let it fly. Peace.